Good morning, everyone. Chuck Creighton from Weller's Utility Trailers. And today I want to talk about what makes Weller's Utility Trailers different, what makes us the premier dealership, in my opinion, which if you deal with us, you know that's the facts. But one thing we do before we sell you a trailer is check it out. We do what we call a trailer prep. And I have this sheet here. This goes with every trailer sale. So I want to go over this sheet with you, let you know, what makes Weller special. This is what we do at every trailer. So got a check sheet that goes through every trailer. So let me walk through this with you. First off, measure the trailer. We make sure that what's on our sheets is what you're getting. So we measure the width, we measure the length with a tape measure, and make sure that the size is written on the trailer as well. So like you come in here and say, I want a 6x12 open landscape trailer. Well, that's actually, our trailer is going to be 76 inches wide and 12 foot long. And that is written on the trailer. It's measured. We all talk 6x12, but typically a 6x12 trailer is 76. So you'll have those measurements. You'll know exactly how wide that trailer is without having to get a tape measure yourself. So we check, make sure it's the right size so you talk to it. If it's an enclosed trailer, we check the roof vents. Now, roof vents are on few, but most all our trailers we have in stock have what we call flow-through vents. They stay open all the time. But if it has roof vents, we get in there, check and make sure it cranks up, cranks down, make sure the lids and everything properly. Check door holdbacks. This is for closed trailers again. If it has door holdbacks, we check them, make sure that they latch properly, they're aligned properly, or not broken. We put Weller stickers on it. We have a certain way we do it, so it's not insane all over your trailer with stickers, but enough that we get some advertising out of it. So we check, make sure the stickers are all done right with some taste. All right, the next one says write down whole VIN number. We require our technicians to write down the whole VIN number on the trailer. A lot of trailers will have the last 4 or 5. I mean, it's not insane to think we have trailers with last 4 or 5 numbers exactly the same. So write down all 17 digits. All 17 digits mean something, and they tell you what the trailer is. So make sure you got the right trailer. You get the trailer you decided to purchase. Torque lug nuts. That's very important. We torque the lug nuts down every wheel, every lug nut before it leaves the property. That way you can rest assured that when you leave here, it's done. But there again, there's a caveat to that. You need to check them as well. We have another sheet that we get you to sign that says that they have to be checked again in another 25 miles, another 50 miles, another 200 miles. And that's with any new trailer. You should check the lug nuts religiously. And we check them before you leave here. Check the bolts on the jacks. Sometimes the jacks are installed here rather than at the manufacturer, so we just make sure that they're tightened up and everything's good and tight when you leave here. Check the air in the tires. We make sure you have the proper setting in tires. It's not like a car tire where you're relying on that to be a certain ride and everything. Tires on a trailer are designed to work, so we want that to be set up at the proper poundage that it's supposed to be to carry the weight you're going to carry. We make sure there's a tag holder on there. We put a tag on. Most time when you leave here, you have a temporary tag, so we make sure there's a place to mount it. Make sure it's the proper thing with all the lights. Check electric brakes. We check, make sure if your trailer is equipped with brakes, we make sure they work before you leave here. That's on new trailers. The breakaway system. We make sure your breakaway system works on a new trailer if it has electric brakes. We check all the lights inside and out. So if you have lights inside your trailer, make sure they work. We have all your outside lights, make sure they all work. We check the keys for doors or latches or locks. So if you have a key that comes with your trailer, we'll check it for you before you take delivery of the trailer to make sure every lock is working properly. Grease, and then checking grease ramp doors. Most ramp doors that we sell have grease fittings on the hinges, so we'll put a shot of grease in every one before it leaves here. If it has swing out doors, if it has any grease fittings on the doors at all, we check those and make sure they're greased before you leave here. On a tow dolly, it says check the pan. There's a pan on a tow dolly that has to swivel. We just make sure it swivels before you leave here. Check bolts on tongue with adjustable couplers. We make sure the bolts are tight on the tongue before you leave our property. Check safety chains, make sure they're connected, working properly. If your trailer does come undone by some kind of freak accident, you want to make sure your safety chains are attached properly to the trailer. So we just check that off to make sure it's right. And then it says check under the trailer to make sure it's in good working order. Sometimes these things come stacked on top of each other, and they'll put wood in there, and the wood will sometimes get stuck maybe on the bottom of an axle or something. There's U-bolts that stick down. It pierces through the wood and catches it and holds it sometimes. You don't want that coming off going down the road. So we check underneath the trailer, make sure there's nothing's going to fall off that should have already been taken off. And then the last thing we check is your ball size. When you're hooking up the trailer, make sure you got the right ball. So Weller's goes to this detail before you even leave our property with the trailer. We make sure the trailer is all good working order. Then our technician signs off on it, and it's kept with your deal on file here. And then we have other papers and stuff you sign, but I just don't know of anybody else that does this. I was in business myself for 36 years. I didn't go to that detail to have a check sheet on every trailer. I know your big box stores, when they sell you a trailer, they don't have a guy making sure the lights are working before you leave. So things that make Weller's different. That's what I'm trying to stress here. This is unique to Weller's utility trailers. Another reason why you should buy from us. All right, that's what I got. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, feel free to shoot me a call or an email. I'm chuck@wellers.com, 302-337-8228. All right, see you later.